Let's turn to this idea of avoidable mortality. The biggest lesson from epidemiology and demography for the last 200 years is that death early in life should be rare, and that death in middle age need not be common. The lesson isn't that you can live forever, because people do have to die of something, but preferably at older ages. And we're going to think about this in the concept of a 24-hour clock. So think about living till age 80, in some cases age 70 in developing countries, as a full day of life. If we think of a typical Japanese woman, let's call her Noriko, she can expect to have the full 24 hours of life. But Noriko's great-grandmother would have only lived till noon. If you go back a little further, for example, in England, in around the 1700s, or in parts of Europe, most people would have only lived till about 10 or so, 10 in the morning. And if you look at the subset of children born in that time, they wouldn't make it past 3 a.m. Even before breakfast, they're dead. Now let's look at how things are in the world today in the poorest countries. Well, if we go to Sierra Leone, there the average person can expect only to live till age noon, the same as Noriko's great-grandmother in Japan almost 100 years ago. In other settings, however, things have improved substantially. So in India now, most people can think about living till about 5 p.m. And this pace in developing countries, such as India, has actually gone faster, as you'll hear about later. So let's go back 300 years to one of the first studies around avoidable mortality. And interestingly, that was done by the astronomer Edmund Halley. In between waiting for his famous comet to come back, he must have gotten bored and dabbled in demography, although he didn't call it that at that time. And what Halley did was obtain data from a small German village that had pretty good, complete information on who lived and not much people moving in and out. And he created this simple graph that you see here of how many people are alive at different time periods by their age. And as you see, most of those people in Germany would be dead before age 70. And even among the children, at least 40% would be dead before age 10. And this was very similar to the findings that the Registrar General of the UK had started, the Registrar General of England had started by 1860, which was based on Grant's work, simple registration of all of the deaths that occurred in different parts of England. And the 1860 data showed exactly the same, or very similar, I should say, that most people could expect to die well before age 70. Things really didn't improve much between 1700 and 1860. But by 1910, look at this remarkable decrease in childhood mortality. Childhood mortality had been halved. And by 1960, childhood mortality had become rare, but still only a small majority of people could expect to reach age 70. But by 2010 in England and Wales, most people could expect to reach age 70. And that difference over the last 5 decades is really a result of improvements from treatment of heart attacks and heart disease, and from reduced smoking, plus other medical technologies. So here you have this rapid transformation, reasonably rapid in human terms. As impressive as this change in mortality has been in England, it has been faster in developing countries. So for example, if you compare 1960s China, India, and Ethiopia versus 2010 England, China, India, and Ethiopia look a lot like England did 100 or 150 years earlier. But by 2010, child mortality in all of these countries had been substantially decreased, such that they look much closer to the English pattern. For example, Chinese child mortality is very close to that of England. Now still, survival in these countries in middle age lags behind that in England, so that while most of English people can reach age 70 or can expect to reach age 70, only a small majority, or in Ethiopia's case, a minority of people can expect to reach age 70 at current death rates. You'll learn later on in this course why this has so rapidly changed, in particularly the introduction of technologies. But the important message here is to understand the avoidability of death, particularly early in life and in middle age. And the rapid transformation that has occurred in England over the last 150 years is now occurring at a faster pace in developing countries. This, of course, will help us move to the next topic, which is understanding not just at what ages people die, age-specific death rates, but also the cause-specific deaths, which we'll turn to in a subsequent lecture.